Well, hello, friends, and welcome to another mini podcast episode. You've already read the title and thumbnail, so without further ado, let's jump in to talking about why I feel like I need to give up my dream job. I think that this was kind of inspired by a comment that I got on my last week's video. Okay, so the comment reads, I'm assuming her name is Steph. So shout out to you, Steph. Thank you for being a real G. Her comment reads, sounds like this experience was a blessing in disguise. Now you know. You can reinvent yourself. It could be exciting. I responded to her comment and was like, this is such a great way of looking at things. Like, thank you so much for pointing that out, that this actually is a really good opportunity and it could just be a blessing in disguise that, rather than having gone into debt to have my dream job, I was able to do it in a way where I kind of realized maybe it isn't my dream anymore. So I think we should start at the beginning of it all with what my dream job is, which I don't think it's very difficult to figure out if you've watched me for a long time. Or even like watched last week's video. My dream job has always been to be a teacher. I cannot remember a single moment in my entire life that I have ever said I wanted to be anything other than a teacher. And sometimes I feel like that was a good thing and a bad thing. I feel like it was a good thing because I had always had a direction that I wanted to go in, and it was fun to always think about what I would want to teach or what grades I'd want to teach and things like that. But at the same time, it was kind of a bad thing because I never let myself explore any other careers that I might have really enjoyed. And ultimately, I think that's why I am where I am right now at the age of 23, questioning anything and everything about myself and the dreams I have for myself and things like that. I think the only other thing I have ever said from memory that I've ever wanted to be when I grew up was a mom, and that still stands. I cannot wait to be a mother. But I've kind of come to this realization since even last week's video, and even before, I think that I've just been slowly coming to terms with it, is that I think I need to give up my dream job. I think that being a teacher is no longer my dream. I think that I just don't feel that it's where I would thrive the best, which is devastating because, again, being a teacher is the only thing I have ever wanted to be when I grew up. And I thought by now I'd be out of school and I'd be a teacher. And if I had gone to school right out of high school, I probably would. But it sucks to think that I could have went through all of that and still been where I'm at now, not wanting to be in the educational field anymore. And I think that it's just ultimately, I think that it's just no longer my dream. I don't think I want to be a teacher anymore, which is equal parts heartbreaking and also like a blessing in disguise. Like this commenter had said, like, if I had gone to school and went into all that debt to be a teacher and then afterwards figured out that I didn't want to do it anymore, that would have been even more heartbreaking because I would have put myself into financial debt in order to find out I didn't like this thing that I had thought I'd love and want to do for the rest of my life. And I also want to say, like, this isn't me fully giving up on it. Like, there could be an instance where I feel like maybe I could do it and that going to school would benefit me and make my life better, and that it really is truly my dream and that I would thrive doing it. I just think that in the situation that I was put in this past school year, if that would be what I'd be dealing with on a daily basis and what I'd be going through as a teacher, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I'd be able to handle that amount of stress all the time. And like in the defense of teachers and things like that, most teachers I don't think are dealing with the amount of shit that I was dealing with. Because a lot of times the lead or like the main teacher isn't the one that's dealing with the more difficult kids every second of every day. Usually they're the ones that have them pulled out or things like that or this and whatever. And so it's much different when you're the lead rather than just like an assistant to the teacher. But even then, I'm making no money. Being in the educational field, you have to be willing to make literal peanuts in order to do the job, because no matter what, you're not really making that much money, which is crazy because literally there wouldn't be anybody. No one would have any education whatsoever if there wasn't teachers and professors and people who taught you the things in order to make you be as successful as you are, and yet somehow we don't like pay the educational field enough, even though nobody would be as successful as they are had there not been somebody to teach you. That's not what we're here to talk about. Okay. I wrote down a couple of things that I thought that we could talk about. Because I feel like this isn't just like I feel like I need to give up my dream job. I feel like it's also kind of me realizing like there's a lot of things that you're told as a kid that I think is just a bold-faced lie. I feel like when you're a kid, people will ask you over and over again, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, what's your dream job? What's your passion? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I feel like you're so young that you pick one thing, and for a long time you might stick with that one thing, but then you might change your ideas, and but then you might change the way you're thinking about things, and maybe you don't want to do that thing anymore, but you've put so much time and effort into wanting to become that certain thing that now it kind of feels like you're stuck there and you can't change and you can't pick a different dream and you can't, change the path that you're going down for your life or whatever. But what's the worst part is that a lot of the times these people, these adults, when you're a kid that are asking you what you want to be when you grow up, they don't even know what they want to be. They're still struggling with figuring out what they want to do when they get older and what their career paths are going to be. I mean, yeah, and there are some instances where adults do know what they want to be and have known for a very, very long time, and that's great and that's amazing. But I feel like there are still so many more people that don't know what they want to do with their life and will go through their entire, adolescence thinking they want to do this one thing, and then they get to adulthood and they're like, wow, actually, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I think I want to try a different career path. I want to try a different field of study or whatever, and this and that. And I think it's a lot of pressure to put on little kids to like pick what they want to be for the rest of their lives when they're like 14 or even at 18 when you go into college. I know so many people who went to school and started their first year of college in one path and then like by their second semester switched majors because they realized they didn't want to do that anymore. And now they have to take a whole extra semester to make up for that first one that they lost, having gone into school thinking they want to do this one thing and then actually realizing they didn't want to do it anymore. And I feel like it's just there's so much pressure on such young people to decide where they want to be at such a young age that yes, in some instances it does work out and you will come out of high school knowing exactly what you want to be and you go to school or you go into wherever and you get that job and you start your career. And for those that works out for, I am utterly in awe of you. Like, I'm so glad that you were so sure of yourself at such a young age. I am not one of them. I am not one that felt so sure of what I wanted to do coming out of high school that I just kept, lack of a better way of explaining it, procrastinating, starting school or picking a career that I wanted to do because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And now I'm feeling almost like disappointed and a little embarrassed that I have taken such a long time to figure out what I wanted to do with myself, and yet I'm still sitting here like, I don't know. I have no idea what career I want to go to, what I want to do for the rest of my life. All I know is that I want a job that I like and can enjoy, and that will support my life and my lifestyles and my goals outside of my career, because I think that I truly want to be able to focus on being a present person for my friends and family and also for, my future family and kids and husband and whatever. Like, I think for a long time I felt like you had to pick a career that you would love and was your passion. And I think I'm realizing right now, especially with like what has happened this past school year, that I think I care more about having a position and a job that would support me. And I feel like, with all that pressure that gets put on you at such a young age, I think I just felt so afraid of picking the wrong thing. And I think that's what ultimately lack of a better way to put it, is like I procrastinated going to school and doing all these things because I was just so unsure of myself, and I didn't know who I wanted to be and what kind of career that I wanted for myself truly. And I think that's ultimately why I just never went to school, because I was like, I feel afraid I'm going to go and not know what to do with myself. And, every day I'm very thankful that young me was like, let's not put ourselves in debt for something that we're so unsure of. But then at the same time, I feel this other fear of like, what if I have missed out on it? What if I could have gone to school and I would be teaching now, and maybe I would really love being a lead teacher rather than just a para or teacher's assistant? What if it is truly my dream and I'm just having a bad experience right now because I'm not getting to actually do what I want to do? And it's just, there's so many questions, and I feel like it's crazy to expect like an 18, 17, 18-year-old to like know the answers to their life and to pick a career and stick with it for the rest of their lives, which I'm sure many, many years ago you could do that. You could just pick a career path and go right into it and start making money and supporting your life, and you've been doing it ever since. And that's amazing. And I'm so happy for you. But I just feel like I'm just not the kind of person who was able to pick a career and just stick with it and be like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm so happy doing this for the rest of my life, this and that, whatever. And I think that's ultimately because my goals in life have changed. Like outside of my career, I want to be able to live comfortably and to be able to support my lifestyle of wanting to be a parent and a mother and wanting to foster a great relationship between my family, my friends, and all of these things. Like I want a career that supports that more than it being like my dream job or anything like that. Does that make any sense? I feel like that makes the most sense in my brain, but I don't know how to explain fully my thought process on this all. I feel like another huge factor that has gone into me being so unsure of myself is like the social media of it all. I spent years and years and years watching teacher content, watching classroom setups, watching day in the life vlogs from teachers and things like that. And I spent so long dreaming of being one of them and being a teacher and having these day-to-day lives teaching and being in the school systems and whatever. And I think it was just like the idolization I'd had of these people that made me want to do these things. And I loved, how beautiful their classrooms were and how in love with teaching they seemed. And in the last couple of years, a lot of these teacher content people that I've been watching are no longer teaching. And they've left the educational field because it's no longer serving them and it's no longer their passion. And I think seeing that especially was really scary for me, because I was like, okay, well, what if I get to where they are one day after going through all of this, time and money to become a teacher, and then I don't want to do it anymore. It just felt like this really scary commitment to make, and ultimately I just couldn't do it. At the age of 18, I couldn't commit to putting myself into debt to do something I wasn't sure about and that I didn't know if I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I think now especially it's a lot harder because I think a lot of kids in school are growing up and saying they want to be influencers and saying they want to be social media content creators and things like that. And that was not a job that I had ever for a second like thought you could even do as like a full-time job. But I feel like now kids, they don't pick careers like that anymore, and I don't think it's as like much of a pressure. But never once did I ever think like, oh, I'm going to do social media as my career. Like I'm going to do this as a career. I'm going to make a lot of money from it, whatever. Never for a second did I ever think of that. And now it's such a normal thing. Kids will write down on stuff like for career and things like that. They say they want to be an influencer when they grow up. And it's so crazy to me, like the difference between when I was a little kid and now. Like when I was little, yeah, there were people making money on social media, but it wasn't very normal. It wasn't like something that, everybody could do, where now there is sort of an opportunity that if you try hard enough and you get lucky, you could make money off of this. This could be your career, which is crazy. But now kids don't say they want to be teachers or police or firefighters, things like that. They say they want to be a YouTuber. They want to be a social media personality and things like that. And it's such a different like thing now than it was, I feel like, when I was a kid. Like I felt like you picked this one career and you stuck with it and, whatever. Where now, like, kids are like, oh, I want to be a social media person. I want to be a streamer or gamer, this or that, whatever, which is still amazing and incredible and all that. But it's just such a different, like, mindset, I feel like, now. And sometimes I'm like, wait, what? Like, how is this even happening right now? And, like, every day. There's a lot of questions, a lot of unknown when it comes to social media right now, because it being so lucrative and people being able to make so much money off of it is still such a new concept in a way. And especially with all the new social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram and all of these things, like, it's a lot. It's very new. It's a lot of unknown. And I think it's going to be a while before we truly realize, like, if it is a sustainable career to have, I feel like. And it's just one of those things where, like, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on that as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Moving on from the social media of it all. Something that I've kind of realized is I think a lot of people don't work or choose jobs solely because it's their passion. I think for a lot of people, they will settle for a career that they enjoy, and that's it. They can go to work and enjoy their day and come home. And, it might not be their passion in life. It may not be their dream job they've always hoped for, but if it works, it works. And I think that that's something I'm coming to terms with recently, is that, like, would it be nice to have a job that you love and is your passion? Yeah, of course. But ultimately, there are times in your life when you might have to settle for something that might not be your true passion in life, and that's fine. And you can just pick a job that you're happy in and that you enjoy what you do every day. But yeah, it might not be the passion of your life. And, like, it's just your job. And I think that that's something I'm coming to terms with now, is, like, honestly, as long as I'm enjoying my job and I'm able to financially support myself and my future, that's all that matters to me. I'm kind of having this, like, epiphany, I guess is the best way to explain it. Like, my goal in life is not to love my job, but it's to love my life. Like, it matters more to me to enjoy the life I'm able to create than to enjoy the job that I do. Which I think it's also hard to say that as well, because, you spend so much of your time at work. You spend majority of your time working. And I think that, if you hate your job and it is draining you both physically and mentally, it can make you hate everything. And truly, that is what I have been experiencing with the position that I was just at, is that I hated it. I hated every minute of every day. And yeah, there were times where I was loving it. And there were days that I would come home and I was like, that was the best day ever. And there were a couple of days, even in the last month or so of school, that I was like, maybe I don't hate this as much. But then the things that truly were draining the life out of me would continue to happen. And it was just like, okay, I don't think this is good for me anymore. I think that I need to step away. I think that I need to make a choice of, do I want to suffer through this position and through what I'm going through with this position in order to live, or do I want to find something that might be a little bit more lucrative, that maybe isn't my dream job, but will give me the ability to support my life outside of my job. And I think ultimately I've come to the conclusion that I care more about being able to support my life over working in a position that's my dream job. If that makes literally sense. In my brain that makes sense, but out loud I feel like that made literally zero sense. So I apologize if that made genuinely no sense. Basically, the main thing I'm saying is that I think that I'm kind of realizing now that even if I change my career path, that ultimately I am okay if it's not my dream or it's not my passion. As long as I'm enjoying it and it gives me the ability to support my life and to support my future, that's all that I care about. And that is my goal, is to have a career that gives me the opportunity to live the life that I want and to support that. And that's my goal. That's my dream in life now, is just to be able to support my life and to be able to enjoy it. And another thing that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about is that, like, there's a little bit of guilt at not loving my job. I guess it's just like the best way to put that is like there is this sort of like guilt that I have put onto myself with hating my job so damn much. I feel just so guilty. Like, I got this opportunity to be in the educational field and really get to experience it. And the hopes that I was going to love it were so, so high that not loving it feels like a bad thing. It feels like I'm doing something wrong, and I feel guilty for not loving it. And I think coming out of this, I mean, this is literally like my third day on my summer break, and I'm like, wow. Just even being a couple of days into the summer, I'm already feeling so much better. I'm already feeling so much more productive. I'm already feeling so much more happy with my day-to-day life and getting the opportunities to continue to apply for other positions and really, want to explore another career that I might enjoy. But yeah, it's not my passion. It hasn't been my dream job for my entire life to sit at a desk and do things like that. But that's okay. But there is still this like guilt of not doing what you thought you were going to do and not working in the job that you've dreamed of doing your entire life. And I think it's also like the guilt of talking about it so much and saying how much I wanted to be a teacher and then not doing it almost feels like a failure. And like people are going to look at me like, "Oh my God, look, she had said for so many years she wants to be a teacher and now she gave up. She's just giving up. She's failing. She's not doing it." And I think that I just need to learn to not give a fuck about that. Because I don't even think anybody gives a shit. Honestly, I don't think anyone gives a shit if I give up on wanting to be a teacher. I don't think anyone's going to care. I don't think anyone's going to have an opinion on it. I think, honestly, people probably care more about me being happy with what I'm doing than me following through on this thing that I said I was going to do when I was like 12. Okay? Can you tell that I'm like internally having an argument with myself, trying to like make myself not feel guilty? Because the guilt is like, it's so real. And I'm sure other people have also felt this way, of this kind of like guilt of not following through on this thing that you said you were going to do. Like, I spent years and years saying that I wanted to be a teacher, and now being like, actually, I don't think I want to do that anymore. It feels like I am breaking this promise that I had made to my younger self or something, and I feel so guilty. But ultimately, I just have to remind myself, like, I would rather work a job that gives me the opportunity to support my life and to live happily than for it to be my passion or to have it been the dream job I've always wanted. Like, my priorities in life have changed, I think, a little bit when it comes to that. And I just think I need to, like, stop giving a shit about it. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty much the conclusion of it all, is like, I just need to come to terms with it. There's gonna be a sort of freedom to giving up on a dream job and being like, you know what? I'm gonna come to terms with the fact that I just don't think this is my dream anymore. And that is so fine. And I am perfectly within my right to give up and to not give a flying fuck about giving up on my dream job, because it's just not that deep. Truly, it's not that deep. I do not think that if I change careers and I go into a different career path, that anyone's going to give me any type of shit about walking away from the educational system. Because I'm sure that everybody in teaching is having these moments of questioning why they're doing this. And ultimately, it's for the kids. And don't get me wrong, I still, deep down in my heart, want to do that job. I still want to be a teacher deep down in my heart. I just think that it's just not where I need to be in this moment, and that's fine. And I feel okay coming to terms with that, because at the end of the day, to me, it matters more that I'm able to support my life than to struggle and be stressed in a job that I'm like, well, this is my dream. This is what I wanted to do. This is where I've wanted to be my entire life. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be in the educational field. Part of me still wants to do it. And I think there will always be a part of me that still wants to help kids and be there for these students the way that some of the teachers in my life were there for me. It's funny, I'm sitting here talking about all of this, and all I can think about is like the teachers I've had throughout my time in school that truly made me want to be a teacher. And like, there's even a part of me that feels like I'm failing them. Like that they went through so much to be such amazing educators and to inspire me to want to be a teacher. And now I'm like giving up on it all. And like, I think that the realization of like that they'd be proud no matter what. Like, it's not that deep, truly. I feel like I'm mostly thinking about two teachers specifically. Well, three. I'd say three teachers specifically, all kind of in different stages of my educational career. My third grade teacher, I loved her. I wanted to be her when I grew up so bad. She was so amazing and just the best, and she cared about what you liked, and the gifts she would give us were just so kind and so generous and things like that. She just was the best. And then my 7th grade history and English teacher, I just loved. I adored him. I never, I wasn't like in love, just so you know. But I loved the way that he made every class period so fun. Like, I don't think I've ever been in a class where I felt we were just having like a fun conversation the whole time. And yeah, we were learning, and yeah, we had to take tests, and yeah, all this other stuff. But like, I feel like we just had so much fun. And to this day, his class is still one of my favorites I've ever had in my entire life. And then in high school, my high school freshman year history teacher, and then I had her again when I was a junior for history again. I loved her. She was so feisty, and she didn't take shit from none of them boys whenever they would be trying to roughhouse or whatever. She did not take shit from no one, and I loved her. And I think I told her when we were maybe juniors or seniors that I wanted to be her when I grew up, and that I was so inspired by the way that she just didn't take anything from nobody, and that she was just such an amazing role model for people. Like, what's even funnier is like everybody hated her. Like, everybody in my class hated her, and I loved her. I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. I just feel like she was so passionate about what she was doing, and you could just tell that she enjoyed teaching and being a teacher. And, yeah, she didn't take shit from nobody, but she still was just so kind. Like, yeah, was she like strict as hell? Yeah. But at the same time, when you were struggling, she'd give you a chance to make it up. And there were a couple of times my junior year which my junior year was also when COVID happened. Oh, geez. And before COVID had happened, I'd gone through like a pretty disastrous breakup, whatever. Piece of shit. Anyways, besides the point. I felt like I was just able to just forget about everything in her classroom and just enjoy being in there and doing the projects and the worksheets and having the conversations and things like that in her room that I just felt like helped me so much. Her class was just so inspiring to me. I loved her. Anyways, this is so besides the point. I also am realizing I'm getting lower and lower on the couch because I'm just getting more and more comfortable laying here talking to you guys. Oh my god, I'm at 44 minutes. Oh, this is gonna be the longest video I've ever posted on YouTube, literally ever. Holy shit. But yeah, I think like going back to the whole like the guilt of it all and everything too, like there's a part of me that feels like I'm failing them, like that, I'd been so inspired to want to do what they were doing because of them, because of how amazing of teachers that they were, and it feels like I'm letting them down, which is not true. Like, hello, it's not true. They're not disappointed in me because I'm not becoming a teacher. they'd be proud of you no matter what you do in life, because they want the best for you and they want you to succeed and to be happy with your life. And I think I'm going to eventually come to terms with the fact that it's fine to give up on your dream job. And I think that's also something that like a lot of people can probably relate to. Like, there might come a time in your life where you just have to give up on it and realize that it no longer is serving you the way that it was before, and that it might be more important to you now to pick a career that supports the life that you want, rather than a career that is your dream job but might not serve you in the way that you want it to. I have a feeling that this video is going to be very incoherent. Like, I feel like it's just going to be all over the place. I feel like I've just yapped at you about everything and anything that's going on inside of my brain right now. But I will say, I do feel a lot better. I feel like I was able to really talk myself through a lot of the things that have been swirling around in my brain lately. And again, shout out to the commenter who really inspired this video and inspired me to really look at this in more of a positive light, because for the longest time, I was making myself feel like the worst human being on the planet for wanting to give up and wanting to let go of the dream that I had had for so many years. Anyways, I genuinely have no idea what else to say to you guys at this point. I'm almost like having this weird moment of like, am I going to put this on the internet? Like, genuinely. But honestly, at the same time, I feel very content with my feelings towards this topic now. And I mean, honestly, I think that if even one person watches this video and it helps them also come to terms with kind of maybe giving up on their dream job a little bit, and it helps them feel a little bit better about that whole situation, then that's all that matters to me. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it's your life. You can choose what to do. And if something is not serving you the way that you want it to, it is okay to admit that you want to walk away from it and that you don't want to deal with it anymore. And that is so fine. And you are perfectly and wholeheartedly within your right to give up and be like, you know what? I do not give a shit about this anymore. And that's fine. And that is totally fine. Anywho's, without further ado, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed listening to me yap. I genuinely don't know if I'll be able to get this under like a 40-minute video, but we'll see. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe down below. And don't forget to put on those post notifications so you get a notification the next time I post. And I'll see you guys next time. Toodles! I've literally like slowly gotten lower in the frame. That's hysterical. I can't even.